Alright, it's time to get to Banora.
Weird looking trees.
Even for this world.
Swords. Your
These are
swords
Banora
weird.
white trees, or down apples.
Wait, that means we're in Banora? Angeal's hometown? Angel!
You really need to do
Contractual
something about that, Zach.
That is correct. Genesis and Jill have known each other for a long time.
Genesis, you say?
I've got this. Tseng, stay back.
Suits me. So yeah, this is also your introduction to the, I forgot what they call, like the G Assassin. Yeah, there you go. The units. Okay, to be fair, they had showed up in two type, you know.
So you see, Crisis Core, the story that precedes Final Fantasy VII. But before we tell you that, let us tell you the story about Angeal and Genesis. But before that, let me tell you the story about Genesis, who this story truly all starts with. But before that, let me start you with the story of Genesis's parents.
Jovan,
Alright,
again,
calm down.
You play Kingdom Hearts, so you know that this shit, you know, is not to, you know, Alien and Square Enix.
No, it is
To
not.
this day, I still have no idea who the families of Terra, Aqua, and Ventus are supposed to even be.
Listen, I don't think Jova's doing this as a diss. I think it's because we're qualified to do this.
Yes, no, look. I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan. I've done my time. I earned the right to make fun of them for it. But that being said, seriously, Square, show us Sora's mother. She's still waiting for him to have dinner.
Or his father, for that matter, unless you really want to pull the twist that it's the Master of Masters.
Oh god, can you imagine?
I'm impressed, soldier.
Thanks. You're looking at a future first.
Let
I'm
me
sure
put my
that won't
glasses
age
back.
badly.
Alright, let's get going. And be careful, we don't want to be spotted, which is why we're standing in the middle of the road.
I know, right? Like, it's not like there's some good foliage you could use to hide yourselves in.
There you go, we're hiding now. The village is crawling with Genesis copies. They've overrun the place.
Oh, cool, Genesis copies. I wonder how they stack up compared to the Mega Drive ones.
The technology was stolen from our scientists. It apparently allows Genesis abilities and traits to be transplanted
That's handy.
to soldier members and monsters.
Yeah. That was a dumb
Soldier
retcon.
and monsters. They're the same?
Yes.
Given their number, the other fatalities are likely already in enemy hands.
Dig this music track.
This is it, Genesis' house. But first I need you to deal with them.
Got it. One take, 2 seconds.
Okay. 1, 2.
It's Dwibs. It's 2 seconds in anime time.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go.
So what's that then? 20 hours?
But yeah,
Get on, Driller.
there's one of the big retcons from Crisis Core. You know the Mako that's used for a lot of soldiers? That sort of started with using DNA from Genesis.
Well, yes and no. It's a bit complicated, more complicated than that. We need to wait until way later on. For the time being, the best way to oversimplify this is that Genesis was also part of the soldier program, but in a slightly different ways that allows this transmutation process to other human beings and monsters, which conveniently serves to have, you know, a set of books at disposal.
It's amazing how with all of Shinra's technology, they were able to give them so many traits, so many powers and all that shit, but they weren't able to create an interesting personality for him.
I mean, they're not miracle workers, Pedro.
I
guess
guess if we're being super fair, personality wasn't high on their list of creating a super weapon.
Probably. They were like, as long as you keep, you know, your mouth shut and read your stupid book, we're fine.
Which is a shame because Genesis eventually learned that he could do nothing but talk, because holy cow, that guy could talk even William Shakespeare's ear off.
Son, all clear. So this is where he lives. This house is a lot bigger than the others.
Not exactly keeping the lowest profile.
His parents are wealthy landowners.
Of course they are.
Flashback. But I never stole from that tree because the wealthy man's son was my friend.
You see, I only steal from people who are not my friends.
How noble of you.
Which is how nice.
We grew up together, and we're best friends.
So Genesis deserts and gets his best friend Angel to join him. Is that it?
Oh, if only, Zack, if only.
Sephiroth believes that's the case,
Poor
which
Sephiroth.
also explains why he did not want to go into this mission.
Yeah.
There. A gravestone, still very new. Zack, go find Zangiel's house. I'll check the grave.
So Turks always do this stuff? Ew.
How dare you check out a grave?
Someone has to do it.
Like, maybe the implication is that he might have to do some digging, but still.
Must be rough.
Don't worry, we're paid much better than you are.
Yeah. Have it true
No
first.
way.
Isn't it?
I
Also, as a
can
reminder,
believe
the
this.
Turks in design were clearly inspired by the Tarantino movie Reservoir Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Can I help you?
Ah,
A woman!
Ah, women!
greetings, ma'am.
It's okay, Mr. Nomura. They can't hurt you. They're only 3D.
Are you in?
Sorry.
Are you in Gio's mother?
Yes, Jillian. Are you a friend of
Angel.
Angeal's?
So the son is called Angel, and the mother Gillian or Gillian.
You know,
the way.
Given how old Angeal is, his mom looks pretty young, don't she?
My name is Zack. Zack Fair.
I didn't ask for your last name. I didn't ask for your name.
Are you Zack the puppy?
Aw, Angeal
Excuse
thinks
me?
of you as his pet. How cute.
Excuse me?
My son wrote to me about you.
Thanks a lot, Angel.
He called you a prick.
Angel is out of the door. He's like, entire stinker.
Yeah.
Zero attention span, restless as a little puppy.
Aw, he
Angeal.
likes you.
Oh, and in case you're wondering, yes, there are fan arts. Why did you ask?
No one asked.
Thanks, Angel.
Yeah.
You're not here together with Genesis, are you?
Genesis?
No, I'm not. Don't worry.
Oh, thank God.
I don't have to kill you now. Genesis came back here a month ago with an army of cohorts, and they proceeded to take the lives of many townspeople.
What a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, seriously speaking, Genesis is kind of a monster at this point.
Genesis. He used to be such a good boy.
And then somebody told him
Did
he
he?
was born in a lab.
It's like with
Did he know?
it's like when a serial killer, well, not serial killer, but somebody in a neighbor who snaps and kills someone, you get revealed that he had a very fucked up type of life, and then the interview the neighbor is like, he was such a good person.
Okay, to be fair,
He got along well with the community.
To be fair, we
He's in
see it.
jail.
We tend to see at length that Sephiroth
Oh,
was.
hold on, this is important.
He left his sword and went off somewhere.
We're about to finally get, at least on my part, the explanation on why I kept pestering about the design of the Buster Sword. Although, as mentioned, here it's not as apparent, because again, it's using the one from the remake, so it's the same hilt.
That sword represents our family's honor.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Buster Sword, original state, is not even something that Zack had, as you could imagine, but it was basically custom made for Angel.
Yeah, that's one thing Crisis Core did. It gave Cloud's Buster Sword its own expanded lore and backstory. It is a move that fans are split on. On the one hand, yeah, the Buster Sword is kind of the only of its kind we do see in 7, so it could stand to reason that it's a special weapon. On the other hand, did the Buster Sword really need a super special, it's been passed down from this family that you never heard of in 7 backstory?
No, I still argue no, because it creates a fuck ton of plot holes. Again, first of all, the very first thing is that it unnecessarily also piles up more dirt on Cloud by having the not implication, but the thing about, oh, you see this thing that was a family treasure and everything, Cloud doesn't even know it, he's using it recklessly, look how careless he is.
Not just that, let's not forget in Advent Children, he lets it go dirty and nearly rust before
because
he
he uses
finally
a gravestone
cleans
for
it.
Zack. But here's the other major thing that I kept mentioning a couple of times. Again, Angel is on the top ranking of the soldiers, stuff. Despite potentially being unpersoned because of events of Crisis Core, the higher ups of people like Heidegger or the Turks will still know genuinely about him, the fact that he was a thing. So when someone shows up with his signature weapon, nobody bats an eye. Nobody makes a certificate file, does cross-reference and everything. Not even in the remake, where the remake specifically tries all of its attempts to actually instead connect the elements of the compilation. You would think that someone will say, hey, that sword actually looks more like the one that one of our top soldiers, from the G Project used to have. I don't know. It's
okay, here's the issue. It's a case where obviously 7 was not initially planned to be the juggernaut that it ended up being. So when 7 became that flow rich of cash, Square felt that they needed to emphasize the importance of everything that was in 7 by giving almost every aspect its own backstory. And since the Buster Sword became a super iconic weapon, of course they had to make it so that it's a super legendary weapon. Okay, to be fair, Square is no stranger to mystical or mythical weapons that are incredibly famous or whatnot. Like the Keyblade, and of course Leon's Gunblade is, while not rare and mythical, is something that most people can't wield as well. The issue is, the Buster Sword was just that, a cool looking sword that, yes, only Cloud happened to use, but was, just his own weapon, essentially.
like I said, Drova, I still ran on my idea that at least as when the original game was concerned, when it was created with nothing else, that the Buster Sword was the standard issue blade, because it fixes completely what I said about, the weapon potentially being noticeable. So it's slightly looking different on the model of the soldier enemy, which was in turn retconned to be the Type 99 sword, the standard weapon that Zack has. But it would have made more sense, and it would explain why is it so low level compared to the swords that you can acquire already starting in Calm, because it's a standard issue weapon for low level grunts,
I guess the only issue I have with that is that we never see any other grunts wielding the Buster Sword.
Again, suspension of disbelief. You have to assume that the two-hand weapon that they have is an equivalent of that, but you have to remember that they're 3D models are, less detailed.
Okay, on that note, making it that the Buster Sword was actually a sword that, like, that Cloud and Zack customized, that could actually have worked. It could have also kept it personal to them, instead of needing to make it so that this, again, completely unrelated family apparently passed the sword down from. Like, yes, Crisis Core makes it a big deal that it's been in Angio's family. The problem is, Angio's family did not feature in 7. Like, it doesn't even have to do with them being good or bad characters, it's just, it feels kind of backwards to put the most emphasis on it being in a family that has just about no relation to Cloud or Zack. Like,
again, they want to prey on the irony factor instead that this was a giant heirloom, family heirloom with a proper backstory and everything, but because of the, diluting stuff and the lack of, communication, at this point, nobody knows anymore its backstory. Anyway, let's continue later for the time being, more dialogue.
Gotta get that to Tseng.
Especially because we're about to also get a dungeon soon enough. Yo, just finished grave digging. Genesis' parents were in that grave.
oh boy.
Wait, his own family?
To mention briefly, Gillian told that Genesis cannot harm her apparently, so can't expect reason from him. What about Ngio?
She wasn't at the house.
But his mom was.
Well, Zack doesn't have to tell.
But please, give me time. If I find Ngio, I can talk to him.
Okay, puppy.
If I can convince Ngio, maybe Genesis will come back too.
Oh,
I understand now why Sephiroth chose you.
look, there's being optimistic, and yes, maybe you could reach Ngio, but
I would like to
Genesis?
remind you, Genesis and Ngio, those two were Sephiroth's only friends. I'd like to remind you that while this is going on, also even so before Crisis are going on, so Tseng is kind of having a really set of bad days already on his own.
I guess you can say, Jova, that Zack is definitely an optimist.
Oh,
and
yes.
Totally not a realist at all.
It's like, Angio I get, but at this point, Genesis was out of his flipping gourd.
He's counting on you to bring them both back.
Angie!
There's a factory on the outskirts of town. I saw a Genesis copy go inside.
How many of these copies are there? You think that's their headquarters?
Could be that or a trap.
Very likely.
Well, off we go.
This is our next dungeon, entering from the ceiling.
Infiltration successful.
And they probably heard the glass shatter, so yeah, here we go.
Yeah, exactly.
I got this.
Yeah, whatever you said, buddy. Yeah, this is again our next dungeon. Again, the other thing that I want to use the time to mention about the Buster that we did a couple of times already, but again, it's worth noting since official licensing, now it's a good time to do it, is that again, for the purpose of the compilation, because again, the remix has, retconned again that scene, that the Buster Sword had its redesign. Technically, the bulky aspect was the same, but the hilt was completely redesigned. Instead of being, overly long, in order to extend past the actual blade parts, it was instead compressed only on just the length of the blade, so it would be a much more of a block, overall. And instead of being just a simple, metal with the nails on it.
Alright, now to rendezvous with Tseng.
Just to mention, there is not too much of a particular gimmick to this dungeon where to move. There are some minimal box moving puzzles to block your way. It's very easy stuff. Anyway, again, instead of being just a simple block of metal with possibly nails or protrusions on them, to give them more mechanical aspect, instead it's a much more ornate golden filigrane with a motif of a laurel or angel wings on it. Again, it's that kind of Gamura artwork over detailed that for a weapon that under normal circumstances like a keyblade really works, but for that particular design it really accentuated how the mentality was completely wrong for this. And look, I mentioned in the past that I'm the first who says that I don't really have a problem with an object gaining a backstory of being told that it's more important in a prequel movie or something, like Han Solo's dices. But I don't know. I get the feeling that the approach given to the Buster Sword in these prequels was completely wrong for reasons that I already mentioned, like creating plot holes just by the mere existence of that.
I think
I
it
don't
ties.
know. It really feels to me that if it was that kind of special, even with the unpersoning of Angel and potentially Zack due to events of Nibelheim, someone at some point should have warned people like Heidegger or Tseng about that, and they would have still know, even if the public image will have to say otherwise, and do something about it or recognizing Cloud.
I would not be surprised if the first and foremost thought with Crisis Core was emphasizing Zack's career and his death, because, Zack's final stand in Crisis Core feels honestly like what the game not focuses on, but what the game performs the best, essentially, of all of that. Now, I'm
Even
not...
that is contrived as fuck because it relies on... Again, it tries to replicate what Halo Reach did. The idea that it gives you a little insurmountable odds and it would basically nail down by fatigue. But even then, the actual, killing parts are, overly scripted because if you're sufficiently level enough, you can go on forever if you want.
Pretty much.
Alright, I think we're about to get... yes, we're about to actually... Well, not now, but we're about to meet the man himself. Looks like the copies are being made here.
You can tell on this Windows Mac DOS.
Remember, past technology and everything. Search further in. You might find Genesis.
He could be
This is
right in
BRB.
front of you. Infinite in mystery is the gift of the goddess. We seek it thus, and take to the sky.
Wow, I wanna punch you in the face already.
I know, right?
Why do you talk like that?
Because
Shiroi,
it's,
just ignore it, maybe it will go away.
Ripples form on the water's surface. The wandering soul knows no rest.
that's the thing, sure. That's all this character is. Nothing but just pretentious drivel.
Hello, Zack, you miserable mutt. Everyone calls you a dog.
Wanna, change that?
The grave at the house. We found the remains of our people there as well. You were told that some Turks actually have been dispatched, but nobody returned, so Genesis killed those two.
It didn't take much to have them send false reports. Just some mild threats.
Lovely.
So you used them and then murdered them. Even your own parents.
Well, duh, I am the villain. Those two betrayed me. They had betrayed me from the very beginning.
Sure, Tommy Wiseau.
Yes!
I didn't ask to be born.
What do you know? Shinra lapdogs!
Oh, hey, Angel.
Hey, partner.
I have a name, you know.
I see. You finally made your decision. I'll respect your wishes, old friend, but...
I mean, you did just threaten his lapdog.
Can you really live on that side?
Zack, you wanna do something? Tackle him? No?
Nope,
Okay.
just let him walk out.
And Geo.
The sword sucks. Have it back.
My work here is done.
But you didn't do anything.
Heh. Gone.
This has been happening a lot lately.
Without a trace.
Damn. Where is he?
There's no time. We have to leave now. Yeah, because Shinra is about to do what we know best to do.
We're not gonna go look for those two?
They'll be incinerated soon anyway.
An airstrike will neutralize this town. Of course.
Of course.
Nuke the place from the orbit. All evidence of misconduct must be erased. Company rules. How many cities are you gonna blow up before nobody's left in
You know,
the world?
if you keep doing that, there's going to be no. You're going to be the rulers of nothing.
Like, while the fight is going on, Jova, can you remind us and the audience about that quote from Kingpin towards the end of the Spider-Man animated series, please?
There's no profit to be made in the destruction of the universe. It is very bad business.
Like, and Shinra is a company that really, really cares about their stupid market share. This is on par with the plan of the stupid doctor from the Resident Evil movies. Like, oh sure, we're gonna kill all the population of the planet and reconvert them into docile zombies, but our market share is important too.
You know,
Hell, Sonic 3 will have a moment like that too.
the movie or the game?
The movie.
The movie.
True, yeah. I mean, both technically apply, but I kind of had a feeling you know, when you get down to it, things really did improve for Shinra when Rufus took him over, if only because, unlike his dumbass dad, he actually considers collateral damage.
Not just that, he was also more capable actually of handling situations of danger, while the old President Shinra's philosophy was just throw up idle money at it and see if it works, and then you can collect it later.
It worked so well up until the time it didn't.
Pretty much.
So yeah, we're kind of disobeying orders, but you know, there's kind of a living
Tseng
person
is closing
left.
an eye just to allow us a chance. Again, Tseng's character is relatively simple, but they still try to do something with that, you know. The idea that he understands, you know, when Zack is asking a favor and everything, but he still has to, you know, uphold the company rules. And like I said, the events of Before Crisis are happening at the same time as this, so the Turks are not really in a good position right now either. I'm just gonna say that. Hurry! There's not much time.
I know.
Well, you better leg it then.
In the game, if I recall correctly, you get to fight Scorpion Sentinel here.
How long do we have?
Get it?
Yo,
We have
Thank
5.
I explained our
Four.
situation in Bada sometime.
Hell yeah. I'll get in Gio's mom and catch up with you ASAP.
I'm surprised Shinra were willing to listen to any reason at that point.
Why do I get the feeling we're gonna get there and she's been murdered?
Please, why did you ask? He gods.
This always happens in these games.
Alright, now I get to deliver better than the actor from Reunion does.
And it wasn't Jill who did it. Remember, Genesis could not do it.
What the hell did you do, Gio?
See, Rick Gomez delivered that line well, but the new actor for Zack just...
No,
couldn't.
seriously. No, seriously. I played for Reunion recently. The new guy he's not as good.
At the very least, this actually gives a genuine, you know, more honest, you know, reaction from Zack. I appreciate that.
Is that your idea of honor?
It's a bit odd him smiling. Just a sprite
My
smiling.
mother could not continue to live, and neither can her son.
What the hell does that even mean?
Wait for later in the plot!
Basically. Well, we're about to catch up immediately. It was just a matter of, spacing out the cutscene.
What are you talking about? What's going on here?
Oh, Zack, buddy boy. Are you ready?
No.
Lives?
I told you.
Well, no, you had to sound like a more whiny Apollo,
Yeah.
I told you.
basically.
You can't live on that side anymore.
Angie!
He tripped him!
Genesis, what are you, 7? Really?
He felt like being a school bully.
Hold on.
My friend, do you fly away now to a world that abhors you and I?
Oh my god, I want to shove my foot right up your ass. I just...
You know, knowing
Shut
Genesis,
up.
he might
Shut
enjoy
up. I'm
that.
Zack on this one. Shut up.
All that awaits you is a somber morrow.
Shut up. I'm warning you.
No matter where the winds may blow. Take a chill pill, man. I don't see Sephiroth today, but are you game?
Is if we're gonna throw another summon at us. So the first time it was Ifrit, so logical, scaling progression means we have to fight Bahamut now.
Yep.
Yeah, even the original Crisis Core has a weird way of, scaling progression on summons.
I'll admit, when I first fought this, I figured, okay, what they're building up to must be Bahamut Zero because there is otherwise no reason to throw flipping Bahamut this early into the game.
Because the compilation has a weird fetish of creating even new forms of Bahamut. Even this game, could not resist that temptation.
I guess I get it, Final Fantasy loves its dragon, so of course, gotta give Bahamut
The weird
all
part
the
is that
points.
only 7 really gives these many different forms to Bahamut. The other, games in the franchise, maybe did 1 or 2 very, very much tops, and even then, it's not too much more than like a polish. Well, 7 really went out the idea of an evolution gimmick.
I think part of the reason for that is because, to my knowledge, when fans discuss which version of Bahamut they like best, typically that's 7s. So that's probably why the 7 Bahamut gets all the cool forms, because, that's the one.
It's also weird because, again, in order to get the Bahamut materials, usually you have to go a bit out of your way to actually get them. Particularly the final one, you have to be very diligent with the huge materials, for example. And again, it's not even plot critical, like instead of, games like Final Fantasy IX, for example.
I guess Bahamut's kind of like Knights of the Round. Like, sure, not everybody goes for it, but almost everyone knows about them because of their reputation. And how cool.
Oh, yeah, because it's Bahamut, you have a countdown and gets properly, cast on you. Thankfully, in this case, there's also the cooldown bar to actually, mitigate that. But when it's in critical health, Bahamut will start again the countdown, and you cannot stop it unless you actually KO him. So you need to, hurry up at that point. Hell, I will say that the Bahamut from the 13 games is more iconic if it wasn't that ugly design that they gave it to him. It's the Yu-Gi-Oh! V-Rains who thought of making a dragon robot, and it's awful.
Like, Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's handled the whole robotic dragon thing better anyway.
Well, I would argue Power Tool Dragon sucks too as a design, but that's mostly intentional.
Well, I was talking about Stardust Dragon because I feel like that's what they're going for with the motif.
No, Stardust still looks organic. It's not part of the junk or the Synchro line. Sure, it's connected to them, but not to that point.
I'm talking strictly about his aesthetic as opposed to the actual genre type he was fitting, because I'd say Stardust looks like he has mechanical parts on it. Granted,
Alright.
that may or may not be what they were going for.
Maybe in the assault mode, you're thinking, with the armor.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking of.
Summons aren't meant to be used like this.
Yeah,
And how, Zack? How and also how do you
And
know
explain
that?
to me how.
well, when we summon, they
What
don't
happened
last
to
like boss
dreams and
fights.
honor?
Oh,
Zach,
right,
you're
that's what
just
he
yelling
meant.
at nothing. Zach, what the hell are you talking about? We are.
That's a great opening.
Monsters.
Poetic.
And he reveals that he has his own one-winged angel form.
We have neither dreams nor honor.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Ta-ta.
Soldier.
Told you lied to me.
It won't be the first time.
Doesn't mean monster.
Boy, will that age terribly.
It's part of supposedly Zack, childhood dreams, but hopes and dreams getting crushed on this case mute. In case you're wondering about the geography, Banora, finally, thanks to this game, it's revealed to have been geographically on the same type of southern islands that Medieval actually is. So, again, up until this game, we did not even the Ultra Ultimania guide actually mentioned that.
What am I fighting for?
And that's it. Believe it or not, we're going to wait quite a while before we get the next Crisis Core chapter, so let's put on pause. Let's to quote it over, boys. Let's put a curtain to this sordid scene. In the next part, however, we will actually have the last major solo character chapters for now, and something tells me that you're gonna like it, because it's an adaptation for one of the chapters of On the Way to a Smile, specifically on how Barrett, back right after he lost his arm, decided what to do with his life and took Marlene on a journey, you could say walking on a road, or the road if you want, towards Midgar. So see you for that.
See you then.
Yep.
See ya.
So yeah.